next, yeah. Yep. And it always happens right when you don't need it to happen.
Exactly.
You know, you got 50 people in the room staring at you at the screen going,
Exactly.
we're waiting on Harlan's machine to update. Good grief. Yeah, I've been right there. And it's even, you throw a Zoom call in the mix.
Oh, my
And that's a
goodness.
whole other layer of technology that has to be updated, so. But I've been on calls where we've got like 80, 90 people on a Teams call. And there's like 6 people having a conversation, and me and everybody else are probably multitasking or whatever they're doing.
They don't think they're able to, it's almost like they're supposed to.
No, there's always a dog barking, or, you know, someone's talking, walks in wanting to get a toy or something.
Yeah, no, the funny thing is me to get a call. Hey, Colin, I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, 70 people hear you say that.
Hey, how are you?
Yeah, I've been right there. How many times? Oh, that ain't Frank's seat. Frank can move. Frank's all, he knows all these seats. That's right. That's right. What have you got to share with us there?
I don't know.
Did you just picked it up off the street? You don't know where it came
No,
from?
I didn't. I have 6 of these. I really was trying to get Brian to look at them sometime.
Is that the Sanborn map you're talking about? Is that
No.
something?
In fact, Harlan, you might be able to.
Absolutely.
The
They
Dead-
come off the ark and Frank.
The Dead Sea Scrolls?
You mean just label it right here?
Yeah.
Oh, that's like some personal filing number. I don't recognize this either at all.
I don't know.
That's not survey.
Mhm.
I've got 6 of these, and they're not all the same. It looks to me like I have a problem with bridge division.
Can't sneak up on anybody with these squeaky shoes. I'm Sean Fleet, I'm with Heath and Lineback. I got a PowerPoint.
Okay.
Oh, maybe you cracked pretty bad.
Where you get it from?
How you do?
All right, how are you?
Good.
Oh, trouble.
Trying.
Filing.
We're the ones causing trouble all the time.
I'm
Stephen
trying.
Wagner's not gonna be with us.
Ariel, yeah, Ariel.
Okay.
What's that?
Okay, that's fine.
Where's it up? What street is that? Is it? I wonder if it's,
It'll be strange.
it's not like where every end comes into,
She's at another meeting.
Okay, yeah, but I mean, she can go in and it'll.
Oh, she can see it later.
Mhm.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's recorded, so she can look at it later.
yeah, okay.
I need to brush my teeth.
I have no idea.
Thank you, sir.
Brought 2 different versions. Last time I was here, so. Should be that PowerPoint.
This one? All right,
Then you just have to run it.
yeah,
Okay.
all right.
I can give you things that I can do the slides, or if you want to just do slides while I.
I can do the slides
Okay.
because, well, I can take it out. I moved it over to here.
By doing that, they can't say, well, what ever said?
And I can take it out.
Yeah, I want to cost you an extra 400, an extra 400.
I got this and I can.
Okay, we've got,
Oh,
we've
you
got,
got it?
yeah, we've got.
Okay.
Oops.
Yeah, when you put $400,000 option, then all of a sudden that option.
Just can't handle the stress.
I didn't read the soul.
Well, help us all. Like, I'm like, Harlan?
They don't know anything.
I don't know where to look for you now. So
There we go.
everything will be normal. You can sit up here if you want.
I'm still learning.
I feel like I'm the Lone Ranger running the meeting.
I'll just set this right here.
That's right, I know, we got all the answers up here, just gotta ask questions.
I don't have, hold on.
That's right.
I don't have the one up that,
That's all right, I got a pointer. I'll
okay.
use my pointer.
No. I think this'll studies. Hey, Tommy, how are you? Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you.
All right, doing fine, doing fine. Hey, my son's getting married, so.
Oh, my God.
Well, that's right, old man, you're funny.
I know, I can't see squat anymore.
Her,
That's
her
cool.
brother got
Yeah.
married, so this is, you know.
Very
so
cool.
They get married in March.
Nice, congratulations.
Yeah, so-
Very cool. Make it bigger.
She lives in Williamson.
Okay. Very nice. Very nice. Congrats. Very cool. I know you're a proud daddy of that.
Oh, yeah. Get him out of the house.
Glad you have a son.
He
not a
still,
daughter.
he still has one minute. I said, well, she gonna sleep.
You
on
got the
the
flags picked up? I
I
guess that's still a discussion. I guess that's a discussion they gotta have, I guess.
We were getting moving a house with a slab, and I said, well,
Yeah.
you know, she can sleep, you and her can sleep in the basement.
There you go. There you go.
I'll give you a shovel and start digging.
There you go. That'll work. That'll work. No, you don't have a quorum today.
Five PVC pipes.
It's looking slim.
I'll give you all the seal out. We got to do those, 2 blocks.
So we can slip anything.
And we caught it.
Just say we're at another wedding,
Talk
so.
to go ahead and bring it.
We'll give us by another.
This is the map that I have seen.
God, this is the town. So right now we put
They told
30 up here. 5, 5.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
And then we could go further. We can worry about that first.
Well, you know, it's like,
Harlan, how are you doing,
my
sir?
son, before he got married, he,
Broke a little sweat.
before he even met his current wife, he said.
When we put them out, there were only 3 of us. Luckily, we had about 8 show up this time, so it takes us about
I got
flags.
food anytime I wanted. He
So,
said,
so they're on the back of the truck, so I'll get you
and
to
I'm
dump
going,
them off.
oh, really?
They just made it.
Yeah, and then Deb came in.
At some point.
So that, the Evil Knievel jump at the railroad track is nice. I don't know if you've got a chance to see their work. They basically built a ramp.
Yeah, I went through, I got to ride through part of the through,
Are you with, you're with River?
Yes, right.
Okay, I'm Kelly.
Yeah, I'm Tom.
It's nice to meet you.
It's gotta be temporary. So we'll have to talk about.
Which cross is this?
The first one.
Oh, gotcha, okay.
The first one there.
Nice.
Yeah, but you hit it with your coffee and not realize it. You know, it's like, it's now a ramp. And then,
No,
We do not at this
and then
point.
we were,
I would love to see that out.
I thought we'd give
wanna do some
ourselves
landscape
60 more
improvements.
seconds to see if we develop one
the
before
medians.
we got started.
Turn it downtown with the streetscape was, which supposedly we were told we can't change out the shrubbery. What shrubbery plan doesn't meet
Mr. Harris.
design standards in regards to what should be.
We can
Hold on.
place with the same plants are there.
15, so it'd be 8.
But they put like boxwoods
Who's that guy
places,
right there?
like in the planters, which should
Okay.
never have been in the planters, they put the miniature gardenias, which should be
Okay.
up in, so whoever the landscape
Yeah, he is.
architect that did the plan wasn't
Yeah, 3,
very smart.
5, yeah. Mhm. Okay.
So I'm to the point where I'm about to call, our GDOT guy.
We need 2 more.
Well, he is the representative from the school.
Kevin, Matt Robert, no, McIntyre. Dennis. Is it Dennis McIntyre? No. I don't know. Jessica told me about that today. So.
Will that be our measure?
They're just, the things that were planted should never have been planted. The plan just, I don't know whether some landscape architecture that graduated from Georgia Tech instead of University of Georgia. Or whether someone that
Probably
went to
so.
University of Georgia
Probably so,
and got
probably
the color
so.
ended up saying, yeah, this
Probably
looks
so.
good, this looks good. But we want to like adopt the planners so that like garden clubs or businesses could adopt the planner and plant designs. You just try to.
Well,
put
let's
personal touch instead of-
let's go ahead and get the meeting started. We're a little bit late. We do not have a quorum at this point. I think we need 2 more to bring us to 8 to get a quorum. So we'll move into the meeting. As I think last time we got a quorum about 15 minutes into the meeting. So if that happens again, we'll just pivot and backtrack a little bit. So Um,
Go back to official business.
I guess even though we don't have a quorum, I guess could I impose on our mayor to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance to kind of get us started here?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First up is approval of meeting minutes, but we'll wait. We'll defer that until we get a quorum for later. I'd like to move into old business next, and I guess Harlan, if you want to update us on some GDOT projects.
Morning, everyone. Good afternoon. I'll go through the report, take any questions if we have any. First project would be, project count number 1, that's the bridge replacement project. PI number 0013928, that's State Route 16 at Flint, excuse me, Flint River. The next milestone on that project is, final field plan review. And we're looking at a let of late, 2022, so that let should be approaching soon. I left it to say late 2022, just in case something did change. Next project would be the maintenance project, project count number 3. That's M005002. That's State Route 92, from State Route 3 to Westmoreland Road. That is a resurfacing project scheduled to let mid-2023. Next project will be project count number 4. It's maintenance project as well. Project number M006247. That is State Route 3 from US 19 to the Henry County line. And that project is on schedule for a let of late 2022. So that project, we should be receiving an update on that project within a couple of weeks. Next project will be project number 5, is a maintenance project. PI number M006388. That is a bridge rehab project. It's 7 locations throughout different counties. I think the one for Spalding County will be along State Route 3, and that project is scheduled for early 2024 let. The project's under construction. Project count number 8, that is the 331910 project, the Jordan Hill Road project. That project is complete. I left it on the report so everyone can see that project has been completed. Project count number 9 is the bridge replacement project on PI number 0016828. That is the Vaughn Road project. That project received a notice to proceed August 2021, and it is complete as well. And jumping down to project count number 11 is the bridge replacement project, PI number 0015417. That's County Road 517 at Wildwood Road. That project was let June 2022, and we're still waiting on that notice, waiting on the notice to proceed for construction on that. And I skipped over 7, but that's all I have. I'll take any questions if we have any.
Is, Harlan, on the LCI, has that officially been closed out by GDOT?
I didn't receive that update, so I didn't note that, but I can, I'll follow up and find out to make sure.
I think all the final paperwork has been submitted. I know the contractor has been paid out. I just didn't know if we had
Sure.
deemed that complete.
Okay. I'll reach back out to the PM,
Okay.
and confirm that.
Any other questions for Harlan on projects? All right, we'll move forward. Thank you, Harlan.
My pleasure.
Next up in old business is Downtown LCI After Action Subcommittee. And we closed this out from the last meeting. I know we provided the survey results to the city staff, and they were gonna look at that and come back with anything that needed to be done. But I think we can just close that off, because we've done our job there as far as that subcommittee is concerned.
Okay.
The next item is the Cycling Pedestrian Subcommittee. I know we were looking at getting some sidewalk lists, for us to look at that and help sort of streamline that. Where were we on the city or county that was providing those?
The mayor has provided the sidewalk list for the city with,
Okay.
in Crayon, and it's back on me.
Okay,
I've
gotcha.
got that responsibility.
Okay, all right, very good. We'll continue getting that too. As soon as we have that, we'll help you get those worked through. Yes, sir, Bruce.
It's right here.
Yeah.
I'd just like to speak to that a little bit.
Sure.
We're looking at the greater county map, Spalding, trying to create bicycle slash golf cart friendly trails and paths throughout the city, extending all the way from the reservoir to, county lines and southeast of us as well. I think with the, movement away from vehicles downtown, trying to get vehicles out of downtown, we're gonna encourage pedestrian and the cycling communities to realize that the access to these resources, mainly around town, and we've got a target, we're getting a map developed where we have a central target, namely the downtown district, the perimeter of Griffin, and then a larger ring around this, around the county with spurs, or I should say spokes, traveling all through the different districts, north, south, east, west, and in between. And what we'd like in the future is to get some support identifying these trails, these paths, directions as bike friendly. Whether it's simply painting on the street that it's bike, we don't have to build bike lanes, but if the vehicles know that there's bikes on this route, they'll be more conscious and aware that we just had a death, deer cyclist. It was outside Spalding County, but we just lost another car accident. So the cycling is increasing since the pandemic, and we've got the quarry downtown with the mountain bike trails, and we'd like to increase the access and the safety of this area. So in the future, we'll be requesting some funding for the development of trails, whether it's recouping rails to trails and making them gravel tracks, not necessarily paved because that's so expensive, but mainly identifying the trails, making them aware on the maps that this is bike friendly, and that'll help with the safety as well.
Have you overlaid this with the perimeter trail that's already planned as well as the?
Is there, no, I have not. Where can I find that information, the perimeter trail?
Yeah,
You mean the highway perimeter trail?
No.
No. Brian Hayes has the information. He could print out a map for us as well. And if we could encourage you, Bruce, to continue your support in input for the county side. One of the things that my VOC is doing is when a development comes in for consideration, if the trail head or the trail itself needs to go through or start at a specific development, we're encouraging our developers to add that to their development as an amenity. So we'd love to continue our work with you on that.
It's not in presentation form, but just as a quick hold up to show you where we're headed. This is the map that I get from the city and county, and it's kind of a targeted thing. As I said, we went to the inner city loop, the perimeter loop, the county loop, and then the advantageous spokes out to those districts, so they're all connected. And so you can travel around the county, staying on bike-friendly roads, and also, if we can get off-road, we'd love it. So rails to trails is a big push for us. We've got north-south Old Macon rails to trails, we've got east-west Brooks rails to trails. The acquisition of that access, I'll leave it up to you guys, but we can identify those trails that would help transportation around, not just for recreation, but also for traffic, for movement around the city. I think the cyclists, you might see biking increase. You already are with the downtown district.
Could I make a recommendation that maybe we have a subcommittee meeting that brings Bruce's
Yep.
ideas, city to county, maybe the third Wednesday, I don't know if that's a good day, I'll just go to the third Wednesday of next month.
Okay. Third Wednesday. We'll set a date, yeah, because there's other, we need to incorporate what Bruce is doing with what's in works at the city and county level, concept otherwise, so, right.
Yeah.
They may have the same concept.
Correct. I think they will dovetail.
I said,
I think they will dovetail, yeah.
What am I doing here is suggestions.
Right.
To provide this kind of input, and so, yeah, if there's anybody else working on this, I'm not aware.
Yeah, the cycling pedestrian committee hasn't met for probably 2, maybe 3 months, because we're kind of waiting to focus on more of the pedestrian aspects of this.
Yeah.
So, once we get that, we'll get together, so.
Maybe 5, 10 years ago, that might be the same.
Yeah, but Michelle we'll work and get that map to you.
Okay, yeah, this is kind of a preliminary sketch, and this is what Kirby could
Yeah.
provide with me.
That's like something like Crayola, you would think.
Yeah, yeah. We've got, there's good information in that. We can incorporate that into what we've got to kind of
Yeah.
make it all work together, so.
Great.
I use highlighters.
Well, Three Rivers, Kirby had asked,
Sorry, I'm not just.
Yeah,
Kirby
I
had
know.
asked if Three Rivers had any resources for this. We don't actually have resources, but we're looking to see if there are any grants that are out
I
there.
got you, yeah.
And so we're keeping our eyes open, but if y'all find a grant, you need assistance with applying for the grant, then let Three Rivers know. We can probably help with a grant application if you find something you think would work. So we're gonna keep our eyes open as well to try to find extra
We're
resources.
taking a lot of information from Fayetteville and some other communities that have a high density golf cart biking access. So
We had the matches for those grants, so our T-Spots money, when we have it structured in our side of the T-Spot, so if we do 50/50 or 80/20,
Yeah.
I mean, that's where we.
Okay.
Yeah, and then transmits over all of the different boundaries, so not just city, so all the way, let's say Brooks to Jackson, wherever you want to go.
Well, it's coming. I know they've already made a lot of progress on this in Fayette County and Coweta County. Henry County, I've participated in several, they're mainly brainstorming sessions by interested citizens and other people. They're already scratching their head wondering how we got so busy with traffic. So they're looking for ways to change that, and, walkways, sidewalks, pedestrian and cycling pathways and green spaces is something they're thinking about. So it's gonna happen either with us or to us. And, the more we can put our own plan together, which I think we are, we've got the comprehensive transportation plan that we're gonna hear about, and other things that have got a lot of this in there. And I think, the more we can provide our own plans, the better for what's gonna happen in Central Florida.
Jason Chance is on the environmental council, and he's also pushing the rails.
Yep.
That Norfolk Southern.
Correct.
Line,
Yeah,
right
that's
now,
right.
he's
Yep.
down
Yeah,
that
and
is
it's,
reservoir, so I mean, he's.
Rails to Trails is interesting because it's still owned by the railroad most of the
Correct,
time. They're just
yeah.
property owners that the train track travels through. Have probably got squatters' rights, and,
Mhm.
but we can reclaim access to that trail.
Yeah, we're trying to work through Norfolk Southern to find out what the process is to consider those right of ways too, so.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Dr. Ledbetter, and I'm here on behalf of the planning commission, and, of course, Bruce serves on the planning commission too, but if we could be made aware of all of this stuff so that we don't inadvertently, okay a project that is going to interfere with that, I think it would be.
Well, once I find out what they've already got in place and put it on top of this, and they'll give us some areas at least where we want to be aware of, and so when your development occurs, that we can work with it.
Sure. Okay. Anything else for the cycling pedestrian subcommittee report? Okay, thank you. Let's move, next item up is T-Splosh project update. I guess, Steve?
Okay, you wanna get that? Sure. The county has completed their resurfacing. We're right at just shy of 24 miles for this year. We are under budget. We're figuring out what those numbers are, right now. The Carver Road sidewalk link between Popular and 362, that concept has been approved by the Board of Commissioners. And, we'll be taking the North Hill Street sidewalk link and the Spalding Street sidewalk link to the Board of Commissioners for concept approval for first meeting in December.
Outstanding.
Section that tie into the city, you get that all coordinated.
Yes. Yes.
The city started milling this week, so, we'll begin paving, weather permitting, beginning of next week.
Okay. Yeah, I know the city's got that added cost of having to mill what's there before we can pave new, so that's a big deal, yeah.
What streets, or is it, are on this?
We started this week with Lisa Circle, Oakdale Drive, Greenview Drive, and Sherwood. Then we're moving over to Carver. And then we'll be doing Blanton Avenue, North Third, Fisher Way, Kentucky Avenue, Lexington Avenue, Lynn Lane,
year's?
This is all happening this year. Total of 13 streets.
Wow, okay. What's, you have a completion on when that's scheduled at all, or?
When we'll complete all these streets, I don't have a
Yeah.
definition.
That's good that they've started, and that's on the docket, so that's good.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
The weather has kind of thrown
Oh,
us
yeah.
back some.
That's been a mess this year for all these kind of projects.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else on the T-Splost update topic? Okay. Next up is a Holiday Springs Traffic Study Review. I saw in the minutes where we were gonna remove this, and I think I needed to, this item is off of our agenda. I know that the city planning zoning group is supposed to come back with some options on that for us, so until they have something, we'll keep that off of the agenda moving forward.
I think, under new business, that,
Mhm.
that will roll somewhat into this too, so we'll talk
Okay,
about
right,
that.
right, okay, Crescent Road, yep. Okay, moving forward to next topic, is landscaping. I think, Brian, you had, been
Yeah,
involved with that.
I've been in contact with GDOT and, Jack Reed specifically to discuss grant options.
Mhm.
And what we are trying to identify is the best grant with the least match.
Okay,
And once we determine what grant that may be, then we can, move to the next step of an application. The first thing we gotta find out is if it's the city or the county, wherever entity it is there a willing match?
Right.
And then proceed to an application.
okay,
Jack's supposed to get back with me in the next week or two for options. So hopefully I'll have a lot more information in the next meeting.
okay.
On that.
Is there anything you need from this group to kind of facilitate any of that?
No, I'm just gathering, and I will come back to the group with what we find out with
Okay.
options.
Okay,
Brian, does that tie in with the group trying to do the wildflower planting and stuff, or is this?
No, this is strictly kinda like we did up at the North Expressway Business
Mhm.
bypass split, where you do a plan, and there's a grant that does a 75 or 80% match, and then there's a local match to that. And then the local entity would be responsible for that construction. But GDOT contributes to the project, but it's not a GDOT project. So it's purely a landscape enhancement, not necessarily what's been talked about on
Okay.
wildflower.
Okay.
It's more on the slopes, Bruce, not, I think we're talking about two different, I think the wildflower would be more of a flatter
Mhm.
planting, but
Right.
specifically what we're talking about right now is 16 and the bypass, those slopes, trying
Right.
to dress those up. That's the first location.
You can also check and see if, like, say if we did a decorative rail instead of a chain link look on the bridge, is that something that would be considered part of beautification as well?
I can ask that question.
Whether it's, you know, sort of a wrought iron metal works or something that's got written plus small.
Like a 17th Street Bridge.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be good too.
right. That's on a more grander scale, of course, but still.
Big.
That's right. All right.
I think that possibly would approve it, but it would be a full local cost. But at least you know which direction it is.
Anything else on that topic? Anyone, questions? Okay. Moving forward on the striping projects, how are we coming along there?
PJ, how are we doing on Two Rivers RCD?
So we're contracted with them for 7 miles. They're still having equipment issues. County just completed North Pine Hill from city limits to West Ellis in-house. And we are actually gonna be experimenting with some non-heat thermo. If that works out good, we're gonna do more in-house.
Okay.
Question, when you say striping, 90 feet, you painting lines on the road?
Correct.
Is there any connection with getting bicycle emblems on the road at the same time as we're going on certain locations?
Something, the state has some pre-designated routes.
Or can we designate the routes through one of our our preferred paths. Could that be included in that process?
We will definitely take a look at it, absolutely.
Would there be any? Thank you.
Okay. Next item up is fixed transit plan. I think, Tommy, you had.
Yeah, we're continuing to work on trying to plan that out. Is our aquatic center still scheduled to open next summer, or do we know?
Next fall.
Next
or
fall?
early fall.
Okay. So Stephanie Wagner is one of the planners that works with us at Three Rivers, and she'll also be on this committee. So she's gonna work with us to coordinate and try to have some public input and talk to Kelly Littlefield some about, just trying to begin to gather information about what we need to get public input on, where they want routes to go and the service areas and those types of things. So we're still in the preliminary phase of doing that and kind of trying to work out and plan that out. It's still a little bit early, but if we're planning now, and I'm thinking probably in the early spring or something like that would be a good time to have public involvement, because then people are thinking about recreation and that kind of mindsets there. So we have some time to work with that. I have a few other things on transit if you want me to share those now.
Good a time as any, I suppose. Let's go.
Okay.
Do that.
We do preventive maintenance on the vehicles, the transit vehicles, and we started tracking and keeping up with that. As of June 1st, we started looking at every oil change, and for the Spalding County transit vehicles, we are 100% either on time or early on our oil changes, which is the most important part of the preventive maintenance. Not the only thing, but it is. So GDOT has some delays in delivering replacement and expansion vehicles just because of supply chain shortages. They keep sending us updates to our contracts to stretch out time and things like that. So we're still waiting. The last I heard was we were going to get a couple of replacement vehicles in September this year. So that was my last word I had on that. And we are in November. So we'll see. But we're working on that. The Spalding County and Carroll County both are beginning to use what's called 5307 funds, and we've already signed agreements on that. Those are managed through Atlanta Transit Link, ATL. Their finance committee has approved us working with them on that, and there's a final board approval in early December, so all of the stars will align hopefully at that point, and that'll be for this fiscal year, which started July 1. There are funds allocated, and they can stay for up to 5 years, and then they roll off. There are always some funds that roll off, and so they said, well, we're going to charge you $30,000 a year, but we'll just take it out of those funds. They're going to roll off anyway. And it's not just for Spalding; that's a combination of Spalding and Carroll. So it's funds that we would not be able to access or use anyway. So it's not a cost out of the pocket of the county. It's some of the existing grant funds. They're going to do that for 2 years, but work with Three Rivers to where we're direct to the National Transit Agency, so we would bypass ATL and basically be direct to them. We still work in coordination with them, so it kind of we're taking baby steps on getting that in place. So that process is working well, and I was late, but I did email it out to this group a little bit before this meeting. Since from July through October, which is that 4-month period, we had 8,173 trips, transit trips. And for employment, medical, nutrition, recreation, education, shopping, different things like that. According to our reports, we had 5,561 revenue hours of operating. So, you should see, if you open your email up, because I just replied to our email to this group, a copy of this. We just ran hot off the presses today, so I apologize that I didn't have a paper copy, but we are keeping that up. So you have approximately 2,000 trips. That's a one-way trip. A large number of those are still for elderly people who go to senior centers or disability centers and things like that. A lot of them will go to doctor's appointments or other things like that, but there's still more that we do as well. And there are other actually access some of the resources here in this county. So they're coming from up Center Pike or Lamar or some other counties coming into this county to access medical care, dialysis, and other things like that. So continuing on with that. So that's just kind of a quick update on transit and where we are.
Thank you, Tommy. Questions for Tommy on those topics? Okay. Let's move into new business then. And I think this is, Brian, your topic here on the road safety audit.
Well, it's actually Marissa.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, then Marissa, it's up. Take it away.
So GDOT reached out to us beginning of this month and advised that they were conducting a road safety audit at the on State Route 155 South Hill from Wesley Avenue to Crescent Road. So it was a 3-day audit. We met on site and actually walked hill. We met with 3 representatives from GDOT as well as Arcadis, who is the consulting firm working on this. I have not received their final notes with recommendations, so hopefully I'll be able to share that with you at the next meeting. However, some of the concerns we brought up was, of course, Etheridge Mill and Zebulon Road. They advised that we could revisit in a year with a potential traffic study once, I guess, those houses start getting built and there's more traffic. So we did express our concern for the area. Another area of concern as we were walking from Airport Road all the way to Crescent, there's a lot of foot traffic in that area. And so we all definitely agree that sidewalks are needed. And then another area of concern was South Hill Street at South 9th and South 8th Street, where all of that comes together. One of the ideas that Arcadis threw out was closing that intersection off and rerouting to Crescent Way. I advise that was not a good idea due to the school traffic and then the hospital and all that traffic right there. So, but we did let them know that that was a concern for us. So hopefully I'll have more of an update at our
Okay.
next meeting.
That's good. That's good news. Okay. Are there any other new business topics to cover? Not, let's move into public comment. Any public comment from guests today? Hearing none. We'll move into the report of the Transportation Program Manager. Ryan.
Okay, our 3 ongoing studies, the transit study plan is complete. Sent all of you the final draft on that. ARC, since I sent it out, ARC has approved it. And unless we have any last minute changes, we will ask Spalding County to approve that as a final document.
Okay. Have you gotten any comments, feedback on that at all?
Tommy sent me some comments. I forwarded them those to Reynolds Smith and Hill, and they've
Okay.
addressed those comments.
Okay.
They've offered that if we need to further discuss, we can get together, but I think Tommy wanted to just go on record on a couple of things related to funding.
Okay.
So it's in their
Okay.
record now.
All right, fair enough.
State Route 155 scoping study, we have Sean Fleet here today from Heath and Lineback, and he's going to give us an update on that project. Over here.
Together a little PowerPoint for y'all.
Okay.
Hope y'all are doing well today. I'm Sean Fleet with Heath and Lineback. Brian and Steve asked me to come give the committee an update on the project, our progress so far, and what we've been doing and what the project's all about. Let's see here. So, little overview. What I'm going to go over is the project description and location, our project justification, show you the GDOT plan, Griffin bypass, our studied routes that we've been looking at for a redesignation of 155, and then draft typical section and concept layout of the preferred alternate, and then the project status, what we've done, what remains, future project phases, and the schedule and funding. So, project description, this is a Spalding County project. It consists, for us, it consists of a scoping study or concept development for the SR 155 or redesignation between SR 155 and SR 16 along North McDonough Road. And the purpose of the project is to reroute SR 155 traffic and truck traffic away from the downtown Griffin area and into the SR 16, which is a 4-lane divided arterial. And of course, this is the existing SR 155 coming through town, and then the corridor we're looking at is the North McDonough Road, and then y'all are familiar with SR 16 right there running south and, east and west. And a couple notable items on this little display is the airport, the proposed Griffin Spalding Airport you guys are constructing here, and then there's also some potential industrial development here at the south end of the project right here. Next slide is the GDOT planned bypass of Griffin. Our project is, of course, the red here. This one is the north-south North McDonough Road right here. That's phase 1 of the planned bypass, and then phase 2 is this blue corridor over here, and then it goes from SR 16 to SR 3, and then phase 3 is the orange one on the east end, going from SR 3 back up to SR 16.
What is the status of that? Is that a concept? Is that?
Those have not been started at all. The construction for those is for the phase 2 is 2036, and phase 3 is 2051. And to my knowledge, they haven't begun a concept scoping on either one of those two.
Okay, so we'll pretend they don't exist. So let's talk about red.
Actually, the phase 2 is actually the same.
What a waste of my time. Sorry.
That's all right. That's all right.
I think one thing this study is going to do, though, is trigger a higher priority on future phases.
Correct.
Because once number 1 gets moving, then they will start considering 2 and 3.
Right.
But until anything happens, they're still considered a long-range project.
Sure.
That's a good point, Brian. Thank you. All right, so,
Would there be any thought in putting bike lanes on this outside perimeter? Because that's pretty
Absolutely.
book cut now.
how that covered.
Or is that too much traffic for safety?
There's, the phase 1 is on the GDOT State Bike Route 15, so we'll cover that in a second. All right, so we have a project justification statement that kind of rules what we're doing. We've developed that project justification statement with stakeholders, and we held 2 meetings and developed the justification statement based on the needs and desires of the stakeholders. And the major items of the statement are rerouting trucks out of downtown Griffin, tying to the bypass, and then improving roadway geometry of North McDonough Road. North McDonough Road's fairly straight, but there's some vertical curves that need improvement. Improving intersection safety at some of the four-way stop intersections along the corridor, and then designing to state route standards, since the corridor will become a state route facility. And then, of course, considering pedestrians and bicycles as the route is on Georgia State Route, Bike Route 15. So some of the alternates that we looked at are, of course, the main one on North McDonough Road, going north and south right here. And then we also studied what we call the airport route. It stays on existing SR 155 to the south end of the airport property, and then runs on the south edge of the airport property, and then ties into SR 16 at Wild Plum Road. And then we also looked at an new location, western and eastern alternates for North McDonald Road. And so I'll just kind of go through our preferred alternative. That was developed and we evaluated based on the stakeholder meetings. And this is the preferred alternate that is current. We're still going through concept. We have a concept team meeting that this thing will get vetted through. So these are just kind of still draft concept alternate. Couple things to point out, our begin project right there at SR 16. This is the south end of the project. We'll retain the existing signal and the configuration of the intersection. We will replace, there's an existing drainage way and culvert there. We'll replace that with a 9x8 box culvert, and then we will maintain a stop control intersection at that side road. And I forgot to go over our typical section first. On the right corner, it's hard to see the text and the widths and stuff. I'll go over that. We have, the roadway will be 2 12-foot travel lanes, or I'm sorry, 1 travel lane in each direction, 12 foot. And then we'll have an 8-foot shoulder on the east side with 4 foot paved, and then a 19-foot shoulder on the west side, which 4 of that will be paved. And then it'll also accommodate an 8-foot shared use path. And this will run for the entire length of the project. So same typical section from north or south to north. Next sheet, we have the intersection with High Falls Drive right here, right there. It's recommended to be a roundabout through ICE, which is intersection control evaluation. It's a GDOT tool that they evaluate intersections. We're at ICE stage 1. We'll have to do ICE stage 2 in a future phase to really determine the configuration of the intersection. So we're still showing it kind of as a normal intersection. We'll, in future, probably show it as a roundabout. Other items on the page are retaining the stop control on the side roads, and replacing an existing culvert with a 48-inch, 48-inch reinforced concrete pipe there. Next sheet. Notable items are 3 possible displacements. They're with these red dots here, right here. Homes real close to the roadway. We just kind of went through with our very rough right-of-way line. In future phases, when we get into preliminary design, we can probably tighten up and reduce some of these possible displacements, but that'll be in future phases. We're just kind of going through it with a rough, just to give an idea what might happen. We'll be extending, this is the Cabin Creek crossing right here, and we'll be extending that. It's a 12 by 10 quad culvert, so we'll be extending that. And then, of course, on the other side roads through this section will be stop control. Kind of same stuff here. There's one potential displacement here, right there. Stop control side roads, and then extending replacing this existing culvert with an 8x7 box culvert. And then the last sheet here, tying in at Jackson Road. The intersections per the ICE stage 1 is a roundabout. The thing here is this will likely advance this intersection project here, or the intersection reconfiguration is under another project with GDOT. It's PI 0019042, and so that we will probably end up that will probably be built by the time we go to construction, and then we'll be just tying to it. And I don't think that project is begun, but just based on an intersection improvement project could go a lot faster than a corridor project.
Then proposed for traffic circle.
That's what we propose. I'm assuming that's what they would find too, but they would have to do the ice analysis and stage 1 and 2 and figure all that out. But we will coordinate with that project. If we end up being before it, I guess we would do it. If it advances, they'll do the project. But I don't think any concept has been done on it, other than there's a separate project identified for that intersection. And then replacing that culvert here will be replaced with a 6x5 culvert. So that's the end of the project.
Is there a lot of, do you see a lot of grade changes on this?
There is, a lot, the horizontal alignment's fairly straight, but there are, some grade changes. We're proposing 45 miles an hour. That's the existing, speed limit on the road. That will reduce the amount of flattening that needs to happen over the crest and the raising and lowering of the crest and sag vertical curves, and then keep the speed lower for the kind of the residential configuration of the roadway that's out there. Any other questions on that?
I guess how extensive are the roadbed improvements? I mean, the roadbed that's out there now is not capable of withstanding the number of heavy vehicles.
That's correct.
that
Yeah,
we-
as part of our scope of work, that's my next slide.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
Might be good to share that with the water and sewer authority too. 'Cause
Yep,
They
yep,
already did.
yep. Let's see. All right, so project status, what we've done, what remains, future phases, schedule and funding. Let me just stop there. So our scope of work that we've completed to date was an environmental screening and a ecology resource identification, so we could know what wetlands were out there, try to avoid those. And then we did a traffic engineering study. That's still working its rounds through GDOT. We're addressing comments still, and hopefully we get approval soon. And then we went out there and did an existing pavement evaluation on the corridor to determine the depth of pavement out there and how good it is, and the report came back as needing to replace the existing roadbed. There's two ways you could replace it. There's either a full depth replacement with, new pavement, new GAB, or you can actually, there's a process called full depth reclamation where you can take the original roadbed, grind it up, and that becomes the base of your new roadway. So that's a cost-saving thing. There would need to be more evaluation done by a geotech to determine what needs to be added, and if sometimes you have to bring in additional GABs, you have to bring in soil cement, but that still is a cost savings over just general GAB. So we'll be looking at that as well. We held 2 stakeholder meetings and then held the initial team concept meeting, and then we submitted an actual draft concept report to GDOT for scheduling the concept team meeting, and we actually just got the meeting scheduled through to GDOT, and it'll be at the old Griffin City Hall courthouse on December 8th. So if you haven't gotten an invite from GDOT, I'll be sending out invites to more people on our stakeholder list. What scope remains is, of course, the concept team meeting that's just been scheduled. And then once we get through that meeting, I'm sure we're going to get some comments, and then we'll be finalizing, addressing those comments, and then finalizing the evaluation of the project alternatives based on the comments. And then we'll complete the draft report and submit that for review. at GDOT in the county. And that's currently tracking to be like January or February this year of when we'll resubmit. Our future scope of work will be to hold a public information open house, and that will be under an additional contract that wasn't in our original contract because of, there was not enough funding to do that work, and then also to revise the concept after that PIOH will be under another contract as well, and get final approval from GDOT on the concept report. And then once the concept report is approved, you'll go into preliminary and right-of-way acquisition, environmental document, final design will need to be completed, and then you go to construction. And then, I've got another slide for the funding and schedule that we have right now. So our work is being completed under this 0016792. This is a clip from the pre-construction status report. There's $312,000 that we use to do what we're doing right now. And probably we'll need an additional up to, I just threw out a number, maybe 50 to 100,000 to go through the PIOH and do any updates GDOT wants to do to get the concept report approved. And then once it's approved, the rest of the project will be done under this 008682 PI, and the construction, this is kind of out of order. The engineering required, we call it PE, is that's funded for 2032. It's hard to say that. And they have $1.2 million for that. And then construction would be, right-of-way would be 2034. And $2 million slated for that, program for that. And then construction is 2036 at $9 million. And then per our draft concept over here on the right, here, our construction budget is, or cost estimate is $16 million. Our PE is around $1.6 million to complete the work. Right-of-way is about $2 million, and then something that's not on the programmed number is utilities, and we have that at $3 million. And then, so the difference in cost that's been programmed by GDOT at this point and our cost estimate numbers is $13 million. But they will be aware of that. Once we go to team concept, we have a pretty extensive cost breakdown of everything, and then they'll start adjusting their numbers. And another good thing about having the draft concept, having approved or having the concept out there is funding and the schedule can all be pulled in once that's approved. So that was a lot of stuff. Any other questions?
Where do y'all get the estimate, the cost estimate for utilities? Is that?
We actually look at what's out there and try to do our best at estimating pretty much everything being replaced on the corridor. It's a worst case situation. And that's pretty much, I think, the approach that district utility or GDOT district utilities does as well.
Yeah. Well, wasn't sure if we reach out to utility at this point or not, but
We have, but we did our own, but we haven't received an estimate from GDOT.
That's power as well as water.
Power, water, I think there's cable, there's gas. We'll try to avoid, there's some major, what we call slick sites, they're at some of the intersections. We'll try to avoid those, and one's near a church, AT&T kind of major site with, pretty expensive to relocate, so we'll try to avoid those. So.
One thing that I've heard people mention relative to this is it's a little bit further if you're coming down 75, but just skipping 155 altogether. You get off at Highway 16 and I-75.
That's what I do.
I mean, I do that. I never take 155 at all. So I don't know, if that's how you would do that, or if you, I don't know if that's even possible, but I just heard a lot of people ask. if-
To reroute
Just
155
reroute
down.
155 coming straight in with 16 off of 75. I mean, there's no construction required at all for that.
Yeah.
Really.
Travel times, problems with the speed limit of 45, travel times probably the same like that.
Would think, yeah. Is that, how would we
There-
study
there's-
that? Is
There's
that-
a plan, I don't know, of course, you see GDOT schedules, but
Yeah.
there's gonna be a new interchange south of the major industrial development on 155.
Okay.
No, it's not Jenkins,burg, it's north of Jenkins,burg. I can't remember the name of the road.
Mhm.
You know that, Sean?
I'm sorry, I was taking some notes down. What was that?
It's south of 155, 75 intersection. It's whatever the next road is that.
Yeah.
What was the road on Griffin?
Are you talking about Bethlehem?
That's, I think that's it.
Is Bethlehem
It doesn't have,
one of
it
them?
doesn't have an interchange right
No,
now.
okay, Bethlehem.
So this would be a new interchange that they hope will get traffic off that 75, 155 intersection.
Mhm.
Go south, go Bethlehem,
Oh,
and get on the
16.
75 either north or south.
I got you.
Which should relieve a lot of truck traffic
Mhm.
rather than coming all the way down into Spalding County, hit 16.
Yeah.
Have you been up in that corridor lately?
Not lately, I've not.
The amount of construction for warehousing in and around, 155, almost to the county line is
Yeah.
extensive.
Really? Yeah. Well, I just keep thinking, I know it takes time for us to consider all this, and we're looking at 2030 something as sort of our timeline for this. It seems to me that it would be easier, at least as an initial step. Let's just route this in through 16. I mean, there's no construction required, there's signage, I'm just asking a dumb question.
Yeah, that's a big
From
question.
somebody who's woefully uninformed about the details of doing something like that. But it just seems like for a near-term solution, because we have problems with trucks now on Hill Street in Griffin, and that state route through downtown Griffin is preventing us from doing a lot of things with downtown Griffin.
Yeah.
And granted, if what we're proposing here is a long-term solution, couldn't we do something at least quickly as a sort of a phase one initial to just route this stuff through 16? Even if it takes trucks a little bit longer to do that before we get some of these other options in place, how do we put that in the mix? Is that crazy talk?
I can tell you.
Basically, yeah,
I can
I mean-
tell you that they're not gonna do that. They're not gonna abandon the state route. They're not.
Well,
gonna-
call it
they're not gonna-
155A, something.
We tried to temporarily make McDonough be 155 as a temporary,
Yeah.
and got nowhere with that, so.
Yeah. Well, I could see, that would still require like some construction, some, expensive things if we had to do it on McDonald Road, but Highway 16 is to spec already. I mean, that's a
Yeah.
4-lane highway going all the way 75. Again, dumb question from the uninformed, but it's just,
No, I thought, it's
it
not a dumb
seems
question.
like common
It's a
sense
good
to
question,
me.
for
It's
sure.
a great
Yeah.
idea.
And it's something that I will be, bringing up during our concept meeting,
Yeah.
is there something we can,
And,
advance?
and do we raise that higher up the GDOT flagpole to figure out why is this impossible, or what do we? I'm seeing common sense staring me in the face here. I don't know how to address that.
Where's your pushback coming from on that plan?
It's all the way from the top. It's gone all the way to the top. And it's basically
The challenging thing is the fact that there's warehouses all the way,
That's
on
right.
155, and they're gonna wanna continue south and not go north to go south.
Mhm.
So that's why I would say that
Yeah.
the state route has to remain kind of going in the southerly direction.
Sure.
But an alternate route to get the people that are,
What about Old Georgia 16? Looking at the map here, some reason they got Georgia Highway 36 now on the old section of Jackson Road going towards
Yeah.
Redwood in that area. Have you heard of that?
I have not.
Putting the map
Yeah.
down there,
Yeah.
Georgia 36.
Yeah.
Jackson Road, used to be a state route.
Right there. But they've got right
You
here.
couldn't make that an alternative. Go
Jackson
down
Road
there,
all the
go
way back down to,
They've got it marked as Georgia 36 right now.
Well, Well, we don't have to solve it here. I'm just thinking that's one more option to consider. Maybe it's if there's some interim solution that could get us,
You could run it to
You
out
know.
on Jackson Road, out past
Yeah.
the Dollar General and all the stuff that's going on out there.
Sure.
and
The red
back
light
into-
at 16
Yeah.
right there.
I know, I don't want us to just get enamored with the permanent solution that's far out. If we have something that we can do in the meantime, that'll relieve a lot of the issues that we're seeing, so. But I guess, can you consider that?
Absolutely.
Forward too? I think Frank, you have a question?
Yeah, Bruce and I are being faced right now on the Bolton Parkway with construction of about 2 million square feet of logistics buildings. Brian and I have talked about this before. I mean, if that building, you know, and we get told, well, pass the zoning and then we'll talk to GDOT about it. And I think that's backwards. I think if we got a problem like that to begin with, GDOT needs to be involved, and I've tried to get,
It's Bolton
the
Park.
third district involved.
Yes,
I'm not sure that road out there, we've got, one of the buildings has got 400 truck parking places on it. Do we ignore that and just hope that at some point in time, the road gets better, or would we say?
What road is that off of?
It's on 16.
Oh, it's off 16.
You're talking about the county road, right?
I'm
Not
talking
necessarily
about the Bolton
16.
Parkway, and then, I'm talking about,
Chichi Road?
High Falls. There's 400 truck places actually on this new one, which is on the north side of Bolton Park.
Yeah.
That's
the
Chihon
one-
Road.
That's the one going, I guess, south of, across from where that gas station is at High
Yeah.
Falls.
That's what he's talking about. There's that one on the south side, and there's another one on the north side there.
Yeah, yeah. But they would have to access a county road to get to 16, right? There's no direct.
There's gonna be a direct, well,
It's
one of
a-
the
Is that one of
cuts
those
is already
cuts?
coming off
One
of
of the
16.
cuts is right there.
They've got a cut line.
Yeah, and then
And
coming
is-
around on
is-
Tomachi.
But they would have to turn right and get up to High Falls to go back in an east direction, or is there a cut there?
There's a cut.
There's cut.
There's a cut.
That'd be a disaster.
Which is gonna be a mess.
Yeah. It's gonna be-
I'm just, and this may be an inappropriate question at this venue, but I'm just saying, should we be taking that into consideration? Should we ignore it and hope somebody fixes it in the future, which is what we've been doing?
Usually, the larger developments are required to do a traffic study for GDOT at the major intersections.
I don't know why you could put that as a condition of your,
Zoning.
wouldn't be an approval at that point.
Yeah.
You'd have to review that before you could approve it.
Yeah.
I'd like to have that option of review, because once it gets the zoning right,
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the only thing that's gonna tell you what you wanna know is a traffic study that tells what's gonna happen in the future.
Well, Sean, thank you for that. I appreciate the update. Well, let's move on to the next topic here around the CTP.
Okay, I got an update from Dan Dobry, with Croy. And, the good news is that it looks like the report's gonna be ready in December. And we will have it to, review, hopefully, and for approval in January. What they're working on right now is they completed the financial projections for the project recommendations. They completed the draft prioritization in short, medium, and long-term projects. They've mapped all the project locations, and they are currently working on the recommendations report to complete the document. So my goal is for him to come in January and do a presentation on hopefully the final product at that time. We can see all the projects, we can see some costs related to that, prioritization, so that then we can start plugging that into local priorities.
Okay. All right.
But Steve and I will be very glad that that project will be wrapped up in December.
Yeah, that's taking a lot of time. good, we'll anticipate having that presentation in January. Anything else on those project updates?
That's it for me.
Okay. Let's move, next topic is future meeting topics. What would we like to cover next in January? Thoughts?
If you get a subcommittee together, discussing
Yep.
versus ideas, and then come back with
Okay.
an overview in the city, county,
Mhm.
different committees that we have working on that. In just 2 months.
Okay. Other topics?
That beautiful railroad crossing is,
Maybe the height at which you're able to launch over that rail crossing, maybe, at certain speeds? Dress Harlan up as Evil Knievel and.
As your coffee flies through, you go, oh my Harlan.
There we go.
Scratch that from the minutes.
I got, yeah.
I don't know if you want to, Kirby, but, in the next couple of months, we'll do more digging on the alternative route.
Mhm.
If you wanna make that an item, we can
Okay.
try to at least find out.
To 155, you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
155 alternative.
Further alternatives on
I
155.
mean, we've been working on this 25 years, so I'm not sure I'm gonna have you an answer in 2 months.
Well,
but
no,
At least
I-
we can have.
I think if we think
Be the
about it.
easy one. Finally found it.
Yeah, if we think of it in terms of sort of long-term, short-term, if there's something that'll get us there quicker.
Yeah.
And maybe it can even go away or be overshadowed by the permanent solution when it gets available.
We get Jackson Road paved by the state, where he doesn't do it at the state level.
Well, there you go. That's an option too. Any other future meeting topics? Okay. Committee member reports, anyone else on the committee?
Board appointments are coming up, so I know
Mhm.
Bruce and
Yeah.
those will come out mid-December on
Okay.
our side.
Okay. Anything else?
Yeah. So we received a letter from GDOT, specifically from Stephen Bryan on November the 7th regarding the Spalding County Replacement Airport Justification and Airport Layout Plan update. Just to give an update for us, and you're more than welcome to get a copy of the report. GDOT has completed its review of the September 22 justification study. And the department concurs with the justification study and the draft ALP update for the replacement of the airport. Specifically, they concur with the federal justification and eligibility of the following items for the initial construction of the airport. Group B2, King Air existing critical aircraft, 4,400 feet for the runway length. Group B2 and 2G2A design standards, 35-foot parallel taxiway with 300-foot wide runway to taxiway center line separation. And then the medium intensity runway to taxiway lighting system, and the rotating beating papies display, and the lighted windsocket segment circle. The terminal apron, the non-precision vertical guided GPS approach with greater than 3/4 mile visibility minimum standards. So those were the 7 items that they agreed with. We talked, Kirby and I talked about it a little bit before the meeting today. This is actually movement, so movement is a good thing, so more to come, I'm sure. One thing that we did note was that 4,400 foot of runway space is a little bit less than what we
Yeah,
expected.
shy of what we were hoping for.
It's only 699 feet longer than our current runway.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll be focusing on that in the future. So, should we add an airport update for future meeting topics then?
That would be good.
Let's do
I'd love
that.
to hear from
Yeah.
Dr. Peters and
Mhm. Bob.
Mr. Staple.
Yep.
Bob is no longer our consultant for the airport authority, so Bob is
Okay.
stepping aside.
Is Randy taking his spot, or has someone been, looking, searching?
We don't see necessarily the need to fill that spot at this point in
Okay.
time.
Okay.
And so we have more regulation person who does, and possibly core engineering could actually
Okay.
potentially do that for us, but.
Okay. All right, so So do we get an update from the airport in January then? If we don't have an airport update person? We'll see if we can get Randy Peters to come do that, or others,
So
so.
then I think when the intent 5,000 feet, expanded to 5,600, it wasn't sure? Okay, that's what I thought the intent was.
And GDOT had said that they'll pay him 600, so we think we are
We might be
5,000.
right at
We're at 5,000 right now with GDOT's commitment, they're gonna take care of 600. If we can find the development partners in terms of bringing different businesses and aspects, then that, it's a moving target.
Yeah. All right. Anything else? Any announcements? Without a quorum, I won't take a, motion to adjourn. We'll just adjourn.
All right.
We'll see you again in January, our next meeting. Yep.
Oh, good.
Nice job.